This craft came over the lake, maybe 35 feet in diameter. It was glowing blue-white light, and I could see three beings.
My head was close to this window, and I saw something moving, and could have been a star, could have been an airplane, but it was moving fairly quickly, and then it got to a certain position and went straight up. I mean, just boom.
And the best place to hide things is the ocean.
And the amazing creatures in the ocean.
Yes.
Fantastic creatures. There was one that was called the Orange, the one that was called the E-band. Some of them looked pretty far out, some of them kind of like us.
We're here today with John Lear. We're going to be talking about extraterrestrial encounters. John, thanks for joining me today.
My pleasure, Emery.
Well, the first time it happened to me, I was on our farm and down in South Florida there, around the age of 7. And this craft came over the lake, maybe 35 feet in diameter. It was glowing blue-white light. And I could see three beings in a small portal-like oval type of window, and had this like telepathic, very quick communication, and it just unfolded in on itself and was gone. I went and I told my mom and dad, and they said, okay, that's okay, just, don't talk about it at school. When was the first time that you had felt that, we're not alone in your life?
The first time that I knew things weren't as they should be was coming out of Brownie Brown's dance school, where I took tap dancing and ballet and tumbling. There was a bus out there that I would get on and go to my 222 14th Street, which was about a 30-minute drive. And got on the bus, sat in there, jostled all the way up 14th Street, all the way to Georgina, where I got off. And just as I got off the bus, I was back at the getting on the bus. And I turned around and I said to the driver, did I just get on this bus? And he had this blank look.
Right.
And here I've got to go take that trip all over again, which is a pain in the rear end, that 30-minute flight. I just got on and
where were you, John?
That was the first time I realized something's
not right.
And then later, the first time I saw a craft was in a Learjet descending into Los Angeles, and what looked like an M2F2 went from left to right at my same altitude.
The bathtub one?
Right, the flying bathtub.
The flying bathtub.
And only years later, after I told that story several times, did I realize, what in the world would a M2F2 be flying across the Los Angeles approach corridor? I mean, it couldn't happen.
And then you knew it couldn't happen.
Yeah, so it was something else.
Well, flying all these planes, 50 countries, have you seen any other unidentified aerial phenomena, whether it's, craft or lights or anything else overseas?
Yeah, I was flying from Detroit to Los Angeles at night, real late at night. We had just passed Chicago, and, I'm just sitting there, nothing to do at night, and looked out the window. It's hard to see out the window because, in a cockpit, usually the lights are bright enough where you can't see outside and put your head up. But my head was close to this window, and I saw something moving, and could have been a star, could have been an airplane, but it was moving fairly quickly, and then it got to a certain position and went straight up. I mean, just boom, up. I thought, wow, that's pretty interesting. And then about a minute or two later, I saw another one. And it started coming this way, and then right at this point, it went, boom, straight up like that. And I said, I'd love to tell these guys in the cockpit who don't believe anything, but it's not going to happen again, and I'm going to look like an idiot. But then it did another time, and I said, come here, you guys, I want to show you something. And they came over, the cockpit and the flight engineer, and watched it come across and go, like that, and they saw it twice, and so they had to admit, yeah, there's something that's a little odd here. And then the only other time I saw a craft was when Bob Lazar took us out to Area 51.
So would you say that was not our craft? That was their craft? We didn't have that type of technology.
The first one where it passed me, that couldn't have been our craft. It was going too fast. At least I didn't think so.
Right.
Now, the second over Chicago, yeah, that could have been ours because there's no reason that ET, or I don't think there could be a reason for it to come along on a flight path and just at a certain point go straight up. That didn't make sense. That was some kind of test or something that we were doing, particularly 5 in a row.
I noticed the FAA really comes down hard on pilots that see these aerial phenomena. You know, what is that about? Who's in control of them, and why do they get so
the secret
attacked?
Government, and secret government, and even if you mention something like that, you're going to immediately lose your medical certificate. And you won't find a pilot, in the entire FAA inventory that would ever even bring something like that up anymore. They know better.
Well, a lot of people saw those Phoenix lights. What was that about?
I'm pretty sure that was us. I had a friend that flew for Southwest Airways. He was on the ground. He said, John, they were flying missing man formation. It was not flares. I'm familiar.
It was multiple craft, not one large craft then, right?
And it was a missing man formation. So it was for somebody who had got killed or something. He didn't say definitely us, but he said, that was definitely a missing man formation. And it was real. It wasn't flares. And the government tried to say it was flares.
Oh, yeah, that got all blown out of proportion.
That was a really important visual for the people in Phoenix.
Oh, yes.
And there was a lot of film of it. And the military tried to pass it off as flares.
Flares, right.
Total.
Are you aware of any extraterrestrial civilizations working on planet Earth, helping any government institutions or organizations or projects side by side?
Yes, at least 5 of them work, different extraterrestrial civilization work up at Groom Lake.
Right.
And then inside the Earth, there's at least 800 separate civilizations that live in there.
Absolutely.
How can there be that much room? You have no idea
how much room
there is in there. And they say, well, is the Earth hollow? No, it's not hollow, but they have these huge spaces, under there.
People don't know how much volume Earth is.
Absolutely.
And how much water covers it, too.
Right.
And the best place to hide things is the ocean.
Absolutely.
And under these other caverns that you talk about.
And the amazing creatures in the ocean.
Yes.
Fantastic creatures.
Yes.
And I saw the video the other day of a guy who was a deep sea diver on making the oil rigs.
Oh, yeah.
And he made a presentation that was very scary. He saw something, and it scared the living out of him. And it was uncomfortable just watching him tell this story because it was so believable. When this one grabbed onto the guy and tried to take him, and he got away from it.
Whoa. Yeah, there's a lot of beings also that live in the water out there, in the depths that we're investigating to this day. So it's very interesting because I used to film for National Geographic and Discovery Channel underwater film, and learning every day they're discovering a new species of, seaweed, bacteria, a fish, just like in the Amazon, they're discovering a new species every day of something that we didn't know of, whether it's an insect or whatever. And I think there's a lot more discovery that's going to come out that's going to be ET related due to genetics and the things that are coming in and out of projects that people may be carrying out on their skin. They don't even know it. And a lot of mutation factors are happening around the planet that we're noticing through, the testing of DNA.
They spent 50 years trying to prove the Loch Ness Monster, this or that. Of course it's there.
Yeah.
But trying to prove it is something else.
Right. Tell me about these 5 different ET civilizations that are working with us at Groom Lake.
The only story I know is the story about the security guard. And they used to hire security guards to sit at different parts of the walkways they had built. They were built out of stainless steel. And they'd have a guard station there, and I don't know what he's supposed to do, but anyway, this one guard is sitting there, had just been hired, and here comes a praying mantis walking down the hallway, you know, and comes walking down the hallway, and the security guard looks at him, has a heart attack, and dies right there. And so then after that, when they hired security guards, they spent a 3 weeks indoctrination period of showing them pictures, but very carefully and not everything at the same time. Give them a flash image, you know, and then the next time maybe a couple of seconds, you know, to get them used to seeing this weird stuff. Because take somebody off the street and put them on security and have a praying mantis come down the hallway, you know, shuffling along, you know, that's some people would.
It's quite shocking.
Very shocking. So that's the only story I know.
But what was some of the other species that you said that you know of 5, but this is just one story you heard of?
I'm trying to think. There was one that was called the Orange, the one that was called the E-band. Some of them looked pretty far out, some of them kind of like us, but I don't remember exactly all of them.
Right. You know, there's a misconception out there with these grays. What could you tell me about that?
They're made on Zeta Reticuli.
Right.
And they are cybernetic organisms. They're essentially glorified robots. And anybody can use them. Good ETs, bad ETs, whatever. They're just there to do a job, whatever they're asked to do. The story about Serpo is completely not true. Serpo is a story that's been going around about the contingent of Air Force and Navy personnel that went to Zeta Reticuli and learned how to play soccer with them and all kinds of nonsense. When I first heard that, I couldn't believe it. And people really thought...
People believe we hit golf balls on the moon.
But the story I heard 30 years ago or so was there were 3 guys that went to Zeta Reticuli and stayed a couple of weeks, and when they came back, one had died, one had gone crazy, and one was completely normal. And so that's the first time I heard of anything similar to Serpo.
If you enjoyed this, make sure to watch the next video on AwakenZone. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, but you won't want to miss what's coming next.